Good evening. You're probably wondering why I've called you all here today to the drawing room of Clodrum Court, a stately home here in the misty midst of the desolate depths of darkest Dartmoor. It is because today Sir Reginald Clichy, the celebrated billionaire financier and owner of Clodrum Court, has been discovered murdered. To death. I am Inspector Courtney Dyke of the Yard, and it is my belief that Sir Reginald's murderer is still at large somewhere in the house. And for all we know, he or she may be preparing to strike again. So, it is up to you. The Sales and Marketing Department of Sunbright Crest Conservatories PLC to follow the clues, unmask that fiend, and thwart his or her evil plans. Welcome.
Evening.
Hello.
It's just the two of you.
Yes, that's right.
The booking was for 30.
I know.
I don't think the others are coming.
There was a bit of dissent in the ranks.
Yeah. Instead of an end-of-year bonus, the company decided they'd lay this on for us instead.
Very nice of them.
Oh, well, Eben and I, we think so.
However, the general feeling amongst the sales team is they'd rather have the cash.
Yes, and that Sunbright Crest Conservatories can stick the murder mystery evening up there, you know what.
Their arse.
Oh, I see. Well, you can't get a refund. If you look at the terms and conditions of the booking.
Oh, we're not looking for a refund.
No, indeed, because whilst Eben and I have sympathy with said suggestion of the company sticking said murder mystery evening up their
arse,
we're in a bit of a cleft stick, as frankly there's nothing my colleague Eben and I like better than a good murder mystery.
Absolutely right. I always say, if I could live anywhere in the world, I'd live in Midsummer.
Yes, and why not? There's probably loads of property available around there. Places coming on the market all the time. Quick death, quick sale needed due to another death in the family again.
Come and meet the neighbours.
Right. Well, we're glad you're here. Because as I said, there's been a murder. And it is one of the most baffling cases I've seen in all my years around these parts. And I'll need your help to solve it.
Okie dokie.
So, what's happened?
Sir Reginald Clichy has been murdered. He was discovered in his private study, poisoned by one of the most rare and deadly toxins known to mankind.
Is he dead?
Yes, of course he's dead.
Are you sure?
It's one of the most rare and deadly toxins known to mankind. Yes, I'm sure he's dead. I'm also sure that he was murdered.
Could it have been suicide?
No, it was murder. And the person who did this terrible thing is still here.
Well, there's no one here apart from us three.
Yes, and we didn't do it. We didn't even know the bloke.
So that means it must have been you.
Oh, well, that was easy.
Yeah, a bit disappointing, really. I think we'd have been better off with an end-of-year bonus.
Wait. There's more.
Oh.
We haven't met the other suspects yet.
There's other suspects?
Yes, of course there are. And anyway, why would I have killed him? I'm a detective. What's my motive?
I don't know.
Have you got a motive?
I might have. You've just got to be patient. And who knows, you might find out something interesting about me.
Like what?
Like you'll just have to wait and see.
Why can't you just tell us?
Because, okay, look, just assume for the moment that I don't have a secret connection in my past to the dead man, and so I don't have a motive to kill him.
But you said you might have.
But assume I don't, okay? Assume that I'm simply an honest detective, Dyke of the Yard.
What of the yard?
Dyke, Inspector Dyke of Scotland Yard, who's been called here to the misty midst and desolate depths of darkest Dartmoor to investigate this terrible and baffling murder.
If it is a murder.
It is a murder.
I don't think we've established that.
We have, and it is murder. So there.
So you say.
I do, and I'm the detective.
Who needs our help?
Would you like to know who found the body?
Yeah, all right. Go on then.
Good, because you're about to meet them. The person who discovered the hapless victim and called me to the scene of this terrible and wickedly ingenious murder. Fellow detectives, allow me to introduce your first suspect.
Good day to you. Philander man at your service. And what a terrible day it is here at Clodden Court. I have known dear Sir Reginald since I was a small girl, and he's been like a father to me, ever since my own poor papa's flourishing lingerie and surgical pet appliance business was bought from under him by an unscrupulous and ruthless financier, and he was ruined. My poor father couldn't stand the disgrace and the poverty, and he took his own life. I was left alone, friendless, and distressingly lower middle class, when Sir Reginald took pity on me. He took me in and paid for me to finish my education at an exclusive Swiss ladies' college in Birkenhead. And then he offered me a job working for him. He was like a father to me, and I was like an underpaid private secretary to him. My duties included taking care of all of his commercial and legal correspondence, and I was privy to anything concerning his finances, his business, and his will.
Thank you, Miss Mann. So, fellow detectives, what questions do we have for Miss Philander Mann, the private secretary?
You discovered the body?
Yes, I did. Poor Sir Reginald was in his study, slumped across his antique desk, his face.
I suppose the door was locked from the inside.
Yes, it was.
They always are.
So, the dead man was in a locked room with no way in and no way out.
That's right.
So how did you get in?
Sorry?
Well, if there was no way in nor out of the room, how did you manage to get into the room to discover the body?
That's a very good question.
And the very good answer is?
I think I probably climbed in through the window.
Yes, I think that's exactly what you probably did.
So the murderer probably climbed out through the window.
Probably. Yes.
No, not much of a locked room then, really, is it?
No, not much really. Anyway, do you want to hear the rest of this suspect's testimony?
Oh, okay. Yes, so where was I?
Poor Sir Reginald was in his study, slumped across his antique desk.
Yeah, that's right. He was slumped across his antique desk, his face a rictus of agony, and clutched in his hand was...
Sorry to interrupt.
Yes,
Oh, what of agony?
a rictus.
A rictus.
Yes. And as he lay there, I saw, clutched in his hand...
How are you spelling that?
Spelling what?
This rictus.
R-I-C-T-U-S, I suppose?
You suppose,
Yes.
but you're not sure.
No, I think that's right. But I don't think it's really that important. What I think we want to know is what was the dead man clutching in his hand?
What did it look like?
What he was clutching in his hand...
No, this rictus. Can you describe it?
Well,
I think a rictus is just a sort of like horrible expression.
Or grimace.
Yes, it's a grimace. But really, I don't think it's that.
Can you show us this rictus?
Or grimace.
okay. It was sort of like...
Oh, yes, that is nasty, isn't it? Oh.
Yes, yes, it is. But the important thing is what he had in his hand. So, do you have any questions for the suspect?
Like what?
Like, what was he clutching in his hand?
I'm very glad you asked that, because clutched in his hand was the most curious thing imaginable.
Was it a tap dancing squirrel?
Sorry.
Or a statue of Vladimir Putin made from marmalade?
What are you on about?
I'm just trying to think the most curious thing imaginable.
How about a fish, right, that knows your telephone number?
Or a donkey on a unicycle.
Oh, I've got one. An inflatable mall.
A what?
A shopping mall, like a bouncy Trafford Centre.
Oh, yeah. Is it filled with blancmange?
It could be.
Quite finished.
Sorry?
Can we get on with this?
Yes, sorry.
Thank you. Now, do you want to know what Sir Reginald was clutching in his hand when he died?
Yes, all right, all right. What was Sir Reginald clutching in his hand when he died?
It was a frog.
Yeah, that is quite curious, isn't it?
So, tell me, Miss Mann, what did you do when you found Sir Reginald slumped across his antique desk, facing a rictus, and clutching a frog in his hand?
I immediately went back out the window and I called the new mistress of the house.
I see. Well, Thank you for your testimony, Miss Mann. We may have some more questions for you later. Right, I think we should move this on and meet the new mistress of the house. Fellow detectives, I give you your next suspect.
I am Consuela Gabriela Espina de Villalobos, Lady Cliché, the grieving widow. I come from Venezuela and I was Sir Reginald's 13th wife. I loved him passionately from the moment I met him 3 months ago at the Kit Kat Club in downtown Maracaibo, where I was a dancer with the 7 wicked wonders of the wanton world floor show and cabaret. It was dead exotic, but very tasteful and quite educational in its own way. Anyway, me and Reggie had a whirlwind romance. He swept me off my feet and our marriage was perfect, strong, and the happiest 5 weeks and 4 days of my life. I'll never forget him.
Thank you, Lady Cliché. And may I say how sorry we are for your terrible loss.
Oh, Tar.
Sorry, where did you say you're from?
Venezuela, in South America.
Really?
Yeah,
Which bit?
all of me.
No, I think my colleague was asking which bit of Venezuela are you from?
Caracas?
A crack house?
What? No! Caracas! It's the capital, I think. Innit?
Yes, it is.
It's just, you don't sound very Venezuelan.
Well, you're not the first, because loads of people say that. And I reckon it's because I was an orphan, right? Raised by missionaries who came from Bootle.
Oh, right.
So, do you keen detectives have any deep and probing questions for the grieving widow from Venezuela?
Yes, just the one. Did you murder your husband?
No, are you messing? He was my soulmate, my life. I loved Ronnie.
Reggie?
Whatever.
Okay, thank you.
Is that it?
Yes, I think so.
It certainly wasn't her.
How do you know?
She's just told us.
And you just believed her?
Well, yeah, of course.
She's far too obvious a suspect to be guilty.
Who's next?
Well, no, hang on.
What?
There's loads of stuff about me that you don't know.
I'm sure there is.
And it's dead incriminating.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Let me see. Did your late husband change his will just before he died?
Yep. I cop for the lot, me.
Thought you would.
Even though you're not interested in his fabulous wealth?
Because you're just a poor, simple girl raised by God-fearing folk.
From Bootle. Yeah.
And they taught you their humble ways, their devout beliefs.
And their distinctive accent. Yeah. Listen, I had a good start, but a hard life. It was a struggle against temptation and sin until I met my own darling, beloved husband, Richie.
Reggie?
He plucked me.
I bet he did.
He plucked me from the dives and flesh pots of South America. He saved me and installed me here as the Lady of Clodderdham Court. But I would give all of the fabulous jewels, cash, overseas properties and extensive share portfolio that I have so suddenly and unexpectedly inherited if I could just share one more blessed sunrise with my own cherished...
Reggie?
Yeah.
I don't suppose you recently took out an enormous life insurance policy by any chance?
Funny you should ask, because coincidentally, I did.
Yes, I thought you might have.
So?
Let's just see the next one, shall we?
Very well. Fellow detectives, that tragic night, fate had brought another, quite unexpected visitor here to Clodrum Court. Who is the stranger in the midst? Prepare yourselves to meet your third suspect.
Guten Tag. My name is Professor Manfred Albrecht Heinrich von Klutzenberger, and I am a professor of herpetology specializing in bacteriology at the University of Heidelberg in Germany. I am here on a lecture tour of Great Britain, and I was on my way to give a talk to the Society for the Study of Amphibians and Reptiles in Redroof, when my car broke down and I was forced to take shelter here for the night, here at Clodrum Court.
Thank you, Professor. We are honoured to have such a learned man amongst us, and I hope you will allow me and fellow detectives to ask you a few questions.
But of course, my dear madame.
Good luck.
And you're German, are you? Yeah, that's right. I was born in Ingolstadt. Only when I was a kid, my dad got a job with Pilkingtons and we all moved to St. Helens, where I grew up, before moving back to my native Germany, where I'm from.
And you speak German?
Yes.
Can you say something for us?
Yes.
In German?
Bayern Munich, Lufthansa, Wolfsburg, Deutsche Technik, Kraftwerk. Okay, well, yes, you do seem to be German.
We just had to check. You understand?
Yeah, no bother.
So, do you have any questions for Professor von Klutzenberger?
Oh, yes. You say your car broke down.
Yeah, it did.
Was it a hire car?
Yeah, I suppose it was.
So why didn't you have a roadside breakdown policy in your hire agreement, which would have covered you for repairs, recovery and replacement vehicles?
Good point. I don't know.
Professor von Klutzenberger, you claim to be some sort of professor.
Of herpetology, specialising in bacteriology. Yeah, I am.
And yet, you hire a car without taking out even the most basic level of breakdown cover. You're not a very clever professor, are you?
I'm the absent-minded genius sort.
Who did you hire it from?
I don't know. The university hired it for me.
Well, I'd have a stiff word with them when you return to Heidelberg if I were you.
Right. I'll do that. Thanks.
Do you have any other questions for Professor von Klutzenberger? Like proper questions?
Such as?
Such as, what is he a professor of?
Well, he told us. He's a professor of herpetology, specialising in bacteriology.
And do you know what that means?
Nope, haven't a clue.
It's probably not important.
Nah.
Well, I'd like to know, Professor.
Well, I'm very glad you asked me that. Herpetology is the branch of zoology concerned with the study of amphibians.
Oh.
And bacteriology, my own particular area of expertise, is the subdiscipline which concentrates on salamanders, newts, toads, and frogs.
Salamanders.
And
frogs.
You get many salamanders in Heidelberg.
No, but you do get loads of frogs.
So, Professor von Klutzenberger, would I be right in thinking that you can identify the type of frog that Sir Reginald was clutching in his hand when he was discovered, murdered?
Indeed I can, Inspector. It was this, a South American golden dart frog, probably the most deadliest frog in the world. It contains just 1 milligram of toxin, which can kill 10,000 mice or up to 20 human beings. Just touching a dart frog can be fatal. But don't worry, I'm a world authority and this one's not loaded.
So it was the frog that killed Sir Reginald?
I believe so.
Who could have guessed?
Probably anyone who's taken note of the fact that this evening is entitled Murder by Frog.
Oh yes, good point.
Yes, it is a bit of a giveaway.
But I am wondering, is this poison dart frog a native of Dartmoor?
Well, a good question from my colleague.
No, and this is the mystery. You only find these frogs in South American countries like Colombia, Nicaragua, and Venezuela.
Venezuela?
Yes, Inspector, Venezuela.
Thank you, Professor. We may have some questions for you later. Well, fellow detectives, I hope you're gathering up all the clues. Was it lucky that a world-famous authority on poisoned South American frogs happened to be on hand at Clodrum Court? Or maybe he was there for some more sinister reason? And could Sir Reginald's new wife have brought the killer frog with her from her homeland and set it loose in the study? What of the private secretary? I feel there's a lot more to learn about her. But now it's time to meet the final member of the household, who was here on the night of the murder. It is, of course, Butler, the butler, who has been in the service of Sir Reginald for the past 20 years. It is, of course, Butler, the butler, who has been in the service of Sir Reginald for the past 20 years.
This butler, where is he?
Probably on his way.
And his name is Butler.
Yes, his name's Butler. Arthur Butler.
What kind of name is Butler for a butler?
It's rather unimaginative.
Maybe, but it's what he's called. And nothing happens in this house that escapes his notice. I can tell you. I could tell you himself if he was here.
Where the hell is he?
Don't know.
Well, he's your old man, isn't he there with you?
No.
You think he may have got lost?
I wouldn't have thought so. Not if he's been in the house for 20 years.
You and Robin live together.
Robin? What?
Listen, fellow detectives, why don't you two go and compare notes or something whilst we wait here for Butler?
No, but
God, those two are driving me bloody mad.
No, I know. Hey, imagine if we had 30 of them weirdos.
What's going on? Why have we stopped?
We're waiting for Robin to come online as Butler the Butler.
Okay, so give him a shout then, Terry.
I can't.
Well, why not? Where is he?
Don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? Terry?
What's happened?
He's moved out.
No.
Moved out?
I think we're having some sort of trial separation for a bit.
What, he's walked out on you?
Not quite. We talked about it and decided to divide the house. So I decided he could have the outside.
Oh, way to go, sister.
What's going on? Have Inspector Clouseau's idiot kid brothers worked out who did it?
No, Robin and Terry have split up.
So?
Jason, don't be so heartless.
Sorry, Judith, but I thought we were in the middle of a performance here, and it's meant to be a murder, not a divorce.
It's nearly been both.
So sorry, Terry, love.
Do you want to talk about it?
Hello? I hate to be the one not in touch with my feelings here, but we do have a murder to do, you know, killer frogs and everything.
He's been very depressed lately.
Do you want to share it with the group?
What? Really? You know, now's the time for group relationship therapy.
I think it's all the murders.
Sorry. Force of habit.
They've been getting him down.
That's because he writes them all.
I know. I think he's been under too much pressure to come up with new ways of killing us all off.
Which is why we've ended up with death by frog.
Well, I think this one's very inventive.
Inventive? We're in the middle of the misty moors with a dead billionaire, a flighty showgirl widow, a repressed secretary with a father fixation, a mysterious German professor with a broken down car, a detective with a secret past, and a butler called Butler. It makes Agatha Christie look cutting edge. The only imagination required is to believe that Miss Liverbird 1975 comes from bloody Venezuela.
Oh, that aim in the Germany has ever been further south than the Wirral.
Robin does his best.
I know he does. And that's the trouble. This is his best.
I know you're not happy with the work the Golden Age Murder Mystery Company does, Jason. You make that perfectly clear. However, until the National Theatre comes calling for you,
Oh, yes, some chance.
I suggest you swallow your enormous ego, wind your neck in, and get on with the job you've been given.
Terry, don't get me wrong. You and Robin do a fantastic job at running the company. All I'm saying is that maybe, just possibly, you could think about moving on with the times a bit, you know, going a bit darker, you know, start embracing the whole Nordic noir genre. Did Robin read my script I gave him?
The one where you're the incestuous tattooed cannibal who eats his sister, wears his dead mother's skin and keeps teenage prostitutes down a well?
Yeah.
Yes, he did. I think that's probably what sent him over the edge.
Look, I think the murders we do are lovely.
Thank you, Judith.
Yeah, and people like them.
And Robin does them so well.
I know he does. But recently, I don't know, all he thinks about is murder. It's all 10 Rillington Place. The bride's in the bath. Dr. Bloody Crippen. He's become obsessed.
And you do know those are all blokes who did their wives in. Just saying.
We got a Chinese takeaway for our anniversary. He spent the entire time telling me about some weird Chinese herb that was colourless, tasteless, and caused instant death in 30 seconds.
Hey, I think that's the number 37. It's best be avoided.
I tell you, it puts you right off your spicy prawn balls.
Yeah, well, it would, wouldn't it?
So, what's happened?
I don't really know. He said he needs to go and find himself.
You want to watch that, you know. When my dad told me mummy wanted to find himself, he went out and found me Auntie Rose, the barmaid at the Dog and Hammer, and 3 different types of herpes.
But Robin isn't like that, Terry. He'd never just leave you for another woman.
No, he'd murder you first.
Jason!
Oh no, but like you do it in like a really lovely, inventive way, you know, like a sharpened cucumber sandwich right between the eyes. Ow!
Have you finished? Look, what are we going to do?
What we always do. Best foot forward. The murder must go on.
That's the spirit, Terry.
How are we going to do it without Robin?
Yeah, that is a point. Butler the butler's got all the big clues. Like, he saw me and Sir Reginald arguing over the will.
And he unpacked my cave of live frogs before I arrived. And Terry, he knows you're the bent copper who Sir Reginald's been blackmailing into protecting his illegal businesses all these years.
And he knows that I know that Sir Reginald was the ruthless financier who caused my father's suicide by stealing the family lingerie and surgical pet appliance business from under him.
What even is a lingerie and surgical pet appliance business?
God only knows. As I said, Robin's been under a lot of pressure. But you're right. It doesn't work without Butler the butler.
Oh, so what are we going to do?
We're just going to have to fill in for him. Improvise.
Hey, maybe, Rebecca, you could do him your exotic but dead tasteful dance from the wicked wonders of the wandering world.
But we're going to need him to show up at the end.
Yeah, but all we have to do is wait until I cue the reveal.
What happens then?
Well, at the big ensemble reveal where we all turn over our cards and show who's the murderer, I programmed everyone's computer to come online automatically in sync.
So, even if Robin doesn't come online manually,
His terminal will come online automatically without him doing anything.
But what if he's not there?
All pissed out his head.
then we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But I reckon for all his troubles, Robin is too much of a pro not to rise to the occasion.
So, what do we do with our 2 amateur dicks until then?
Like I said, improvise.
Well, what about the plot?
Judy, the time for worrying about this plot is long past.
Yeah, let's just get them to make the prediction and then I'll cue the big reveal.
Okay.
Just make sure they don't pick Robin as the killer in case he's not there. Although I'm sure he will be, Teddy.
I know they're stupid, but they're not so stupid to think that the butler did it.
Well, fingers crossed.
Right, I'll bring them back online. Stay alert, you lot. I might be needing you.
Good luck.
So, fellow detectives, how are your deductions coming along?
Quite satisfactorily, thank you.
Good, because I've learned some interesting facts about some of the suspects.
Where's the butler?
Butler.
We're still waiting for him, but as I was saying about the other suspects.
So, Butler, the butler, has disappeared.
Yeah, but that's not important.
Was he abducted for knowing too much?
Or has he fled, realising that we're on his trail and about to unmask him?
Unmask him? Unmask him is what? I'd say he's the one person who's above suspicion.
So you claim.
Yes, I do.
Who's Robin?
What?
Lady Cliche asked you.
Did she?
Yes. When Butler
The butler?
didn't appear, Lady Cliche rushed in
Online.
And she said to you, where the hell is he?
To which you replied, I don't know. She then said, well, he's your old man. Isn't he there with you?
Yeah. You replied, no. And then she said,
But you and Robin live together.
so, Inspector, who is Robin?
And where is he?
I don't know.
Really?
No, really.
Is Robin the butler? Butler?
Yes.
So you live with Butler the butler?
Yes.
Well, I think this changes everything, don't you, my colleague?
Oh, indeed it does, my colleague. But, Inspector, you said his name was Arthur.
Did I?
Yes, Arthur Butler.
What is going on?
Maybe I can help. Yes, the butler's name is Arthur. Arthur, which is short for Robin.
Robin is short for Arthur.
No, Arthur is short for Robin.
No, it's not. It's exactly the same length. Robin, Arthur. Arthur, Robin. Robin, Arthur. Robin. Yes, it's exactly the same.
It depends how you say it. Arthur. Ruben. See?
Not really.
It's a Dartmoor thing.
It may well be, but it also puts an entirely new complexion on the case. The inspector there says that this Butler is the one person who is above suspicion, but now we find out that he's got an alias. Is he Arthur? Or is he Ruben?
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if Butler wasn't his real name either.
I agree. It does sound a bit made up.
But ask yourselves, why would a butler give himself the false name Butler? That just draws attention to himself.
I agree. Yeah, no one in their right mind would do that.
That is true. Unless that's what he wanted us to think.
What?
That he's not in his right mind.
Why would he do that?
Laying the grounds for a plea of insanity.
Oh, we'd be in good company with you two.
Yes, I reckon this Butler is in it up to his ears.
You haven't got any evidence for that?
Maybe, maybe not. But I think he's the one responsible for this whole ghastly mess.
Okay, you may be onto something there.
No, he's a good man who does his best.
Why is everyone defending the butler? Butler?
Very suspicious, methinks. And now he's left the scene of the crime.
Again, we don't know he's left the scene of the crime.
Then where is he?
Don't know.
Yes, but we know he's not here.
So he's left the scene.
No. No. He's left me.
Oh, don't get yourself upset, Terry.
Terry?
The detective's called Terry.
I thought she was a dyke.
Charming.
I don't know where he is.
We're coming online in a couple of minutes and he'll be fine. You'll see.
I've got it. The detective's got an alias.
So, you know what this means.
Yes, Butler the butler did it.
And the detective.
Double whammy.
Classic stuff.
What are you two on?
We're on the trail of a killer.
Two killers.
But now the heat's on and the cracks are starting to appear.
They can't live with the guilt.
Or each other.
So he has done a bunk.
Leaving her holding the baby.
Or in this case, the frog.
Case closed.
You two shut up. Thank you. Suspects, clear the stage. So, Sunbright Crest Conservatories PLC, you reckon you've solved this murder? Thank you. You know who done it, do you? And you reckon it was the butler and the detective together? So, ignoring all the evidence, disregarding the clues, overlooking means, motive, opportunity, you've just rushed blindly to judgment, have you? Very well. You know, sometimes I don't know why I bother. But we do. So, let's have the big reveal. Let's see who done it. Was it the detective? The private secretary? The grieving Venezuelan widow? The mysterious German professor? Or was it Butler? The butler? Robin?
Shit.
What happened?
Where is he? Cut him down.
Well, I did not see that coming.
No. Very satisfying ending.
I agree. A pleasingly postmodern twist on what was shaping up to be a rather well-worn and cliched premise.
Absolutely. Of course. It does leave us with the question, who killed Butler? The butler?
Obviously, it was Sir Reginald. He faked his own death with a bogus frog so he could murder his butler.
Of course. It's so obvious now you say it. But why?
No, clearly the man's a complete nutcase.
Mm.
Anyway, we better go. Midsummer's on UK Gold in 5 minutes.
Oh, great. See you in the office.
Yeah, right.